And I see that Herwig is already sharing his presentation of Team4 CSR. Yes, this is important. Herwig for Team 3. Herwig was just a guest, so he has made 2 teams this year. Herwig, you are muted. Herwig, unmute, please.
But Jana, I think you're starting.
Okay, just to start, tell something about CSR at the beginning, and then Herwig will start the presentation. So we talk about CSR as corporate social responsibility is becoming a must for the companies lately. And it should be integrated into a company's strategy, not only to show that company care about society, but also to increase their significance in community and as well reputation. So we create this assessment model as a tool to check within our company where we are standing when we are talking about corporate social responsibility. So Herwig will tell us more.
The elder of you perhaps remember the Brent Spa disaster of Shell. Shell energy company had a platform in the belt in the North Sea going down, and they wanted to bring it down to the bottom of the sea, and then Greenpeace made a big strike for Shell company filling stations, and this had been for me the beginning of CSR discussion especially in Europe. And now CSR is already important in the European Union companies of public interest. They are obliged to make a CSR policy every year. We already have an existing ISO, International Standard Norm, 26,000, but until now there is no way to measure CSR. That's the reason we will talk about how to measure CSR. And that should be a task for controllers, of course, because it's totally new. This idea is old. Many of you already have seen this model, but now we used it for CSR, for corporate social responsibility, and we have made it in 7 steps. This measurement tool. This has been Jana, Romina, and me. The 7 steps we explain quite short. You can see it afterwards at home. The first is to define areas. We say areas and sub-criteria. Areas for us had been important areas, had been human rights, consumer issues, community, and environment. So you see, CSR is not only environment, it's also community, the consumer, the customer, and the human right of people working in our companies. And the sub-criteria we see here on the right side in yellow, for example, for human rights, are the work conditions, work safety, discrimination, tolerance, education and development of people working with us, working culture and work-life balance, and exploitation of children and bad-paid jobs. Mostly not in our company, but in our delivery chain. That's very important for the future. Here shortly the points in the ISO 26,000 I don't want to read it now. You can read it afterwards for your own. Step 7 is we have to say what is the weight of every sub-criteria of every area. We discussed a long time for the areas, the 4 areas, and even more time we used for the sub-criteria. We are sure we are not good, but if you have something better, we should take this, but it's a beginning. And having these sub-criteria, we said, how important is this? A total of 100%, what is the weight of every sub-criteria? And here you see that for us, the most important sub-criteria had been the carbon footprint. In many companies, you measure it already, so it's a beginning to use this, of course. But also important is discrimination and tolerance, for example. Yeah, you see our result, but it's not right. It's a discussion process, and we did it for us 3. You can do it in your company, you can do it in a branch, or you can do it in the whole European Union. What is the weight of every sub-criteria? Step 3. For every sub-criteria, we defined which ratio could we use. For example, for work conditions, a satisfaction index of staff. How satisfied are they with their work, with their safety, with their work conditions? Discrimination tolerance, what is the percentage of women, colored, foreigners, disabled in our company? Or, for example, in our top management? You have to discuss it. You never have a right thing, but important is the discussion of the points. Sorry. For example, for community, no corruption. We should talk about the corruption index. We showed later on what this is. And for example, in environment, having CSR ratios. Do you have CSR ratios in normal work in your company? Oh, isn't this a topic at all? Yeah, then we have decided which ratio we could use. We've been discussing about the figures for each area, for each sub-criteria. For example, for discrimination, we said we give the equal chance to get a job for foreigners, for women, colored people, and so on, is a 1. It should be normal, but everybody of us knows it's very often not normal. Equal payment, a real problem in most companies. In Germany, for example, women earn 20% less than men. What's the reason? Only because they are working in service areas, or what is the reason for this? What are promotion opportunities? Is 3. 4 is the percentage of women, colored, foreigners, and so on in top management. If you have 30%, it's a 4. It's 50%. If it's 50%, it's a 5. And you know, having different people in a company with different views, with different experiences, is very important to understand the customer. I had a client 10 years ago who had been selling white and brown things to the electronic market, radios, TV, computers, washing machines, and so on. We asked, what's the percentage of women buying these things? Well, about 60–70%. And then we asked, I'm sorry, we find here nearly 100% of the management are men. Could you understand the reason a woman will buy your products? They've been very angry with us. Here you see only for area 1, but we have made it also for the other areas. You can see it on the afterwards totally. Step 5. When we have discussed for every area the weight and the points you can give, we are talking about a target. Target in a company, if you measure CSR in different branches, or target of our company in the branch. So we said for us, we had a target company in our head behind, work conditions with 70% weight, we should have a 2. Remember, 2 in work conditions had been providing safety on working place. Discrimination, we said, it should be 4. Remember, 4 had been 30% of women, colored, foreigners, disabled, other religions in top management, 30%. And this we did for all the areas, for all the sub-criteria. What should be the target for our company or for the branches of our company, for the areas of our company, for the departments. Point 6, step 6, what is our grade? And we made a test afterwards, I tell you, and we said, first we had an example and said, okay, that should be our actual points in our target company. And if you combine this, you're getting here 82%. We are reaching 82% of the target. How do we get it? You count 7% multiplied with 2, it's 0.14. 9% multiplied with 4 is 36. That's the target. And the actual is 7% multiplied with 2, and so on. And the 3.5 as the target, and 2.70 is our ratio. So we reach 82% of the target. Now, the most important point, if we know that we are not really good in everywhere, what should we do in every area, or which areas are the most important to do anything? That's the most important thing, what to do to be better here, to be better. We tested the model in Bosnia. They had a grade of 64%. And we did it also in Poland. It had been the company of Romina. And important had been to see where they had the most problems. I can try to bring it. Here you see Poland, and here you see Bosnia, and you see the problems had been most important in Poland had been environment. 0.34 instead of 0.88. And the same in Bosnia, 0.28 and should be 0.88. So that's very important. And they decided we should look first in this area here, environment, what could we do to not have any problems anymore? Yo. Jana, could you follow? Make an, Jana, we can't hear you.
How to do it internally? So as we already discussed, the starting point is the discussion, open discussion in the company. So set up a multifunctional team, I don't know, through workshops, meetings, or some kind of brainstorming sessions to define what areas are most important to focus on, and what is the goals, what are the goals we want to achieve in the company. Then we can set up the model with areas like we did it in our group. Everybody can do that like this in the company, and get their own areas they want to focus on, and then test the model, analyze like Herwig just mentioned, what we can do to improve when we are not doing so well, in which area, what are the points where we can be more effective, and then after analyzing, we can make a revision of the model and make the proposition on which therapy we can have for improving the things and how to use the recipes for our therapy. Yes. So after that, the conclusion for the corporate social responsibility is that it has to be an integrated part of the business model. Not only as most of the companies right now are doing as just as some kind of marketing strategies just to show how they are care about environment, but in fact they are just use it as a marketing tool just to promote themselves, but instead they are not doing much more than that. So to really live the social, to really be social responsible, this kind of responsibility has to be integrated and implemented in the company's culture. So as we mentioned before, the most hard thing to do is to define areas and sub-criteria and to start on the job. This is the most tough task to do, but there is a starting point you have to start on. So afterwards, you can revise the first starting model, and it is not so hard after all. So there is never a right or wrong model, and following our steps, it should not be too much so much hard. So after we have tested the model, our conclusion is that this model works very well, and Romina's work colleagues from Bosnia and Poland are really show that this is really possible to work with, and the next steps is discussion and do it internally, like we mentioned before. That's it. So
thanks, Jana. Important for us has been this you could use in a company for different departments. This you could use in a bigger company for all the country departments, country companies. You can use it in a branch, comparing your CSR activities with the CSR activities of other companies. You can do it theoretical for the others, and with you, compare it with your actual things to see if you are better than the others or worse. You can make a comparison in a branch with compare yourself with the actual dates of other companies, or you can use it perhaps in future for a whole country or the whole European Union to show what you are doing for CSR. And CSR is not only marketing, please realize CSR is for a better economy. We have to use it everywhere. Thanks, Jana, and thanks for your paying attention.
Thank you very much, Team 4. I see first questions. That's great. Anna and Dragana. Anna was probably first, so then Dragana. Anna. Anna, would you like to say something? Your hand is up.
No.
Okay.
I think it's from the previous one commentary.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I forgot to
Okay, so I will lower your hand. Dragana?
Yes, I think this is a brilliant. And I worked when I was in DM. This was a company which had a great, amazing CSR program. I didn't quite understand in your presentation this benchmark. Was it put as something that is needed in country, or is it put something that is it needed in company? Like, did they decide what is important internal and put benchmark, or what was the standard?
The standards we discussed, we three discussed the ratios and then the grade 1 to 5. And afterwards we thought, what should be a standard in the company of Romina? And to make an example for Bosnia and Poland, for the colleagues, we afterwards tried to fill it out. And when they filled it out, they haven't seen the result. You see, important is you see the result in the end. And they have been really excited that they have so bad, especially in the fourth area. And they decided, oh, we should do something. We should talk with our CEO in our country department or country company, what to do, what should we do.
I think it's a great tool because you can easily, I'm thinking about my country, you can easily talk with government and said what is important in strategy, and you can put this as standard and motivate companies toward this. And I also find connection with previous topic, like electricity and everything. I remember in the end someone said, if you want to be company A class, then you should implement these water pumps or something, so you can easily navigate this future with this. I think it's a great tool, and thank you for this, for sharing this.
Jana?
I just wanted to mention that we ourselves discuss about what target should be, because I think it's really hard to find some kind of benchmark for those kind of areas or sub-criteria, because we didn't find any kind of data for this kind of data in for CSR. That was the idea, you know, to set up your own targets. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be?
Okay, Luisa and then Axel.
I don't remember from a presentation whether you found some brands, industry brands, because you were comparing the target with the brand target, or with you compared it to something. And the question is, how did you find the benchmark?
We discussed what should it be, what should be a good company. You see, there is no right, what is right and what is wrong. You couldn't say it. We have to discuss it as a team in a company, the CEOs together, or as a top team of a company. What do we want to have as a good result? What is a good result? And not only is a carbon copy footprint, but many different things. And then you say, you give it up. The target is this. Like in financial things, it says the target is 7% cash flow. Why not? Just the same. It's a date, only a ratio.
Thank you.
Axel?
Yeah, sorry. Henrik, just an question. You didn't even mention, for example, the GRI standards or the Germany, the SD KPI standards, because I sometimes ask people, how do you start? They say, I take the GRI standards, I take the ones I like, and I use them. So this is the first question, and then I have another one, because there is one tricky thing. That's why I realized why people does that, because there's in these bigger companies that are now they're forced to do this non-financial information. There's one definition. They must be comparable and contrastable, or well, you must be possible to verify that. So now my doubt is, this is for me the explanation why everybody just takes the GRI or the SD KPI or they take something that is like generally accepted. even though so this is just my question. You didn't even mention that. Just why?
I agree. If you read at the end of the year, you read paper about CSR. Every company makes different things, and we want to compare it. If you compare some companies or many companies in your country, of course, you have a CSR index for the country, or for the European Union. But in our view, start with something. And important for us is you have one ratio. Only one ratio. 68% says for everybody we are worse than 77%. That's the point, and you can lift your ratio to say in future we want to have everywhere 4 or something like this. You can change it like the use of electric power for washing machines. That we are just changing in the European Union the A 3 time plus to A, because times are changing, and you can use this also in this model. But most important, you have to discuss what could be a right measurement, and we only want to show CSR is not only one measurement, carbon copy, but many things.
I just want to announce that Biden is president. He defeated Donald Trump. Donald Trump is now president. Sorry to interrupt this, but I thought it.
Jörn, we recorded it, you know.
I know. All right, go ahead.
Jörn, so you don't like Trump?
I wonder what Slovenia will do now. Okay, Jana?
Just to answer Axel, so we talk about which KPIs are according to some kind of obligation in the company, and it always in our evaluation got the grade 1, because we find it that it is something normal which company must do. So every effort beyond that gets higher grade. So this is something to compare yourself with other companies, you know. So if you are just doing what you are obliged to do, then you are not so doing something that is something more quality or whatever beyond. Your efforts are not very well for corporate for social responsibility. You know, I don't know if you understood me.
Axel, important is with this model, the first time you see where to do anything, and then you have to say step 7, what are we doing? What will we do? And next year you can ask them, what have you done? You said we will do this and this and this. What have you done? And your figure should be better afterwards. And if not,
Roger, your hand is up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Herwig just gave the answer to my comment. So I think it is at least as important to have an absolute number and compared with other companies. It is at least as important to show the development over the years within the departments of the companies. And this can be, maybe you can always discuss about the absolute numbers, but if you see the improvements within the company, this is already a big success to me.
Okay, Peter and then Jörn. Peter?
Yes, okay, maybe this was already somehow answered, but nevertheless, I have some comments or questions about it. I really believe that this corporate social responsibility ratios and stuff like that are really important. Also, personally, I believe this. But I have a question, how to, let's say, persuade company to start to get using it, you know? Maybe with multinational companies, it's a bit easier because, you know, there is some sort of they have it more years in them, they have more money, and they have to really guard their reputation, because the reputation of big multinational companies are you have to you have to really be careful about it. But what about small company? How to push, let's say, as your controller, how to push to the management board or to the CEO to persuade him to start using something like that?
May I answer? Peter, quite easy. If you have a small company, you have a lorry, and the lorry is driving into a kindergarten, killing 5 children. Your company is off the records, I'm sure. You see, nobody knows what will happen when, but many companies already have seen. We've started with looking in branches where CSR is important for closest companies use it very much now, and not this CSR model, but CSR as a measurement to bring people to buy their products. For example, the German company Vote, they only produce not with children and with good clothes. And you see, this movement is starting. And when this is starting, we could, as controllers, use this model to change, to make a bit better our world.
Jana?
And also, I just want to mention that we talk about ratios for every sub-criteria. So every ratio is some kind of measurement, some kind of KPI, which you can hold someone responsible for. So you can set it up as someone's tasks to take care of or be responsible for that KPIs.
Okay, Jörn, you wanted to say?
I wanted to try to make the whole picture a little bit broader. I think this KPI, social responsibilities, is very important. It's difficult to bring it in, I understand that. But I'm currently having a project. It's like setting up a facility in China without flying to China, which is not possible or difficult in the moment. And we are discussing with a lot of participants in this project. And it is so important that we have an atmosphere of trust and reliability, which is the most important thing in this project. It's not really about money. Everybody will get his share, and that's absolutely transparent. And it's been told to everybody. This project is not about money. This project is about that it works. When it works, there's enough money to be shared. And so it's really the atmosphere. And I think thinking about social responsibility, thinking about reliability, transparency, to be that you can work with somebody, that you can talk to somebody, that this is the word is worth something, is very important to make things happen. If this is not there, it's so damn difficult to get anything happen. So I think this covers the whole picture. So this is why companies should think about their responsibility in the social environment and should take it serious. Yes, because then their worker will be more reliable and it's more easy to make things run in the right way. This is my comment.
Yeah, yes, Jana?
Yes, and it's like what Jan said, this is also like quality for companies. So is the social responsibility more and more. We can see it as like ISO had issued their standards. So it is only the time when it will be replicable for companies, and it should be a sign that they have some kind of quality in social responsibility. That's my opinion.
Yes, Dragana?
Yes, but first ignore this little monkey behind me. He's jumping all the time. I just wanted to share something with you. I remember also in DM, we really worked on values. We didn't work on CSR for itself. So when you work on, when you work on values and you give it sense of something, people are do it for themselves. We didn't ever spoke about concrete measure. We really spoke about sense, and then people kind of felt it right way and then implemented in their all their life, like doing put trees in nature, helping colleagues, helping society, volunteering, everything. So I think we as a controller should do promotion in this strategic niveau through values in companies every day, kind of forcing that people really look first at the values, then at the business. Yes.
Ghana, I agree with you totally, but as controllers, you know, saying we should do this and we should be better is nothing. We should count it, and with this model it's possible to count. I agree it's not exact, I agree it's not perfect, but we should start with this.
Okay, Dragica?
Yes, I agree with you, Harry, because these tools, we now here in our groups, we learn to use new tools, and we are prepared to force it in the company. Of course, there is first is our company to improve things in our company. If not in this one that you are now, then it's another. Controllers, good controllers are always needed, believe me, in every country. And then first you improve the KPIs in your company, then you can see what are the KPIs in your competitors, and then you could be better to compare with competitors. But first, it's your company, of course. And tools we have, this is the most important. Nothing is for controllers, you know, we have numbers, we have this forecasting, we have things to think about, and then we can improve it. So, but there are just, kako se reče ocene?
Prices?
No, ocena.
Estimations.
We have estimations, and then we could do values on it.
That's it. No comment from Valentin. In Russia, you don't have this problem, CSR anymore. Talk about.
Thinking about the topic, and two observations actually I understand. First is that our international work group already exists for years, but none of the companies where we've been into has really put this topic as one of the work group topics. So normally we have a few of them. So basically it looks like in business quite often money and profits still come into first play before social responsibility. They talk about it, but no one really wants to dig deeper and to put technologies into it. So it's good that this year pandemic came in, so finally we touch it as controllers, but I have a feeling that it is still, let's say, romantic topic. So it's nice and fancy to discuss between people who are not making money at the moment. So we are more or less interest-driven or idea-driven team. But once we go into company, and if we take money for consulting, I really doubt that they will pay a lot to invest their time and competence into CSR development. And I have a feeling that it's a pity. And yes, Herwig, please, I see you want to give a comment.
Valentin, all four teams worked for future. You for business models, the other team for liquidity in future, team 3, new technologies, and we also worked for our future. And we think that CSR is very, very important for the future, especially of European companies. I agree, many companies don't talk about CSR. The bigger ones, they have to report every year. And I'm sure in 5 or 10 years, it's a must for every company to make a CSR report, not only for the big important ones in the European Union. And also, I'm sure in Russia, more and more green things are important in Russia as well, in all our countries. And therefore, we have to start it. And isn't it fine that we in our international work group start a new thing, start 4 new topics for the future of our companies?
I agree. But you see, Herwig, I'm in training business, so in business education. So I do trainings myself and I produce trainings. So let's say you've been to Kaliningrad a few times. I invite guys from Control Academy or somebody else. And I really believe that out of 4 topics which we have done this year, this is the worst training to sell if I have a training with this kind of topic. So I can sell business modeling, I can sell Monte Carlo with this absolutely nice digital approach to do forecasting. I can even sell this digitalization, 5G and stuff like that. We even had this type of training this year with Denis Scheinowitz. But this CSR, I would sell it for very low amount of money and for just a few participants. And it's a pity. Yes, Jana.
It's not time yet.
Yeah.
It's just not time yet.
Yes, it's not time because nobody is asking for ISO certification for CSR yet.
Yes.
But it will be asked for, so then I think most companies will go to get it, you know.
Yeah.
Now only the big companies who wants to have a great image of themselves in the community are going into that task. That's my opinion.
The big companies, they have to report CSR every year in the European Union. The problem, you can't compare their reports. They write something very interesting, what they're doing for carbon copy, for people working in this, for worker safety, and so on and so on. But you can't compare it. That's a problem.
So
Okay.
the second idea, you know, there is a country which is world famous for so-called population happiness index. And it's Denmark. So one of my friends spent there 2 months, and when he returned, he was very much impressed because 2 months is very long to have a feeling not like a tourist, but already a little bit like a citizen. And now I remember what he told me. So your presentation kind of made me remember it again, because a lot of things which are done by the government are publicly prioritized. So once you have a limited budget and a lot of ideas what has to be done first or second, you need a certain transparent tool to filter it. So let's say, what do we do first? Fix our roads, build another hospital, or replace the streetlight bulbs with LED elements? So it's nice because they made it really transparent, and I really doubt that this happiness index would be so high without this type of approach. So this is interesting case, and when you talk about this topic, I think that the country, it's not even the company, this thing is much bigger, but it's already applicable. So yeah.
I just want to say
Excellent.
2 things. Tuxal, for example, was a company with strong values in this part. They don't call it CSR or ESG or however you want to call it, but they have a lot of values in this direction, no? Because there's the legal form, yeah. So there was for me a company with a lot of social and responsible values, and I discussed this topic a lot lately. And for example, I got a message here. For example, you know where this will come from? Not actually from the small companies. It will be the other way around. The investors will insist in that, because I have here a chart that compares, for example, investment funds. They compare their rating in with, well, I take CSR or ESG or all this sustainability stuff as more or less the same thing with little differences. So they compare the overall profitability of an investment fund with the rating of sustainability. And most of the high ranker in sustainability are also high ranking in profitability. So the first thing they demonstrates that companies that are socially sustainability social that fulfill their social responsibility are also profitable. So this is something you can. I have this chart here. I will you will see it soon. You really can see responsibility also is
connected.
Goes together with profitability. And for here, I got a message here. For example, BlackRock only will invest in companies, socially responsible companies. BlackRock, no, this is a big name. I got this message from a professor from the University of Barcelona. He wanted to show me that. And they BlackRock will only invest in companies that are socially responsible. So that means it will possibly not be what the company wants to do, but they want the investors will insist in these kind of ratings. And this is the next point where I think that these ratings at the end there will be a standard. We will have like possibly two things. We will have a comparable standard will be GRI or however they want to call it. This will be to make them comparable, because I was talking here to a consulting company. They have their own standard as you have or Dana, but then they link it to the GRI standards to make them comparable, no? Because this is what then the big investors want to see. No, they don't want your personal standard, because they want something that can. So that's why we will have probably in the near future something that will be generally accepted. So this was interesting, because really, Valentin, it will not be from the company point of view. It will be the investor. They will insist on these things. So the companies will have to do that.
But the only example, I can give you one example. This topic, unfortunately, is already being used not in the very correct way, I believe. So you remember Apple a few weeks ago made the presentation of new iPhone 12. And they don't put a charger anymore into box. And the reason which they announced to the whole world is that they would like to reduce this carbon emissions, blah, 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 blah. But I don't really have a feeling that this is a real intention which they had. So I see that now there is this small line between being socially responsible and between trying to look socially responsible. So for me, this is already kind of...
But Valentin, look at the stock exchange, the American stock exchange. The sustainable companies, or the sustainable index, is getting much better than the index for normal companies. It's really, because people are more engaged. The clients prefer the products of companies which are engaged in sustainable things, and the services around the cities prefer to have sustainable companies working in the area. So it's much easier for these sustainable companies, CSR is another word for this, than for other companies. I'm sure you will see also in Russia soon, sustainability brings you to more profit, I'm sure.
I believe it. So Herwig, you don't need to convince me. I really support you. I only just share. You asked me, so I kept silence before you asked me. So.
But one comment before Peter, one comment from me to that, Valentin. I think that you don't have to sell it as CSR. You can sell it as KPI. This is just the same. You can, I think by your courses, you can change the world as you did for sure. You can change the world step by step, just giving this knowledge, even if you don't call it CSR.
And who is the right person to invite to be a speaker for this type of seminar? This is also a type of question which I have. Because I don't remember in our controller, in our ICV society, a really good professional focusing on this type of tools, approaches, methods, because we normally discuss economics, marketing, strategy. So this is a very good part of strategy, but who is really good in this?
It's a green controlling. Sorry.
Herwig.
So it's even better, he's more in it. See, in Spain, they have asked us before we had been working for Tuxcal about these topics, but we hadn't an answer. Now we have an answer.
So Louisa has just offered a Monte Carlo simulation course, and Axel, please prepare a CSR course. So my portfolio.
There's a work group. There's a work group in the ICV. There's a green controlling work group. We have a little booklet. Where is it?
I don't like the name. The green controlling doesn't sound like social responsibility.
Yeah, but this was the starting point. Now they called green and for responsible business.
Yeah, yeah.
They changed the name a little bit. But this is the way of starting is the same. This is the same approach, only this is discussing environment. You have to add social, then it's the same steps to follow. This is a quite interesting booklet. It's your old already, but it's quite interesting because they recommend really good steps.
This is really an old name. They should. It's not marketing. It's not good.
We just published it here in Spain, and it still sounds interesting for those who are not in this topic. You know, this is a starting point because environment is a bit like, for the most company, it sounds like, oh, even if I'm environmentally sustainable, I save some money. No, sounds good at the beginning. No, and so, but for me, social is going in the right line as green. No, so. Well, maybe they changed the name from, but we just published it here with Xavier Subirats. You remember him from from Badalona. He said this is the book we need just to introduce this issue here in Spain. No, and this is I think they have good steps to follow, and they recommend, for example, the sustainability. Oh, this is a word I cannot pronounce. The sustainability balance scorecard. The balance scorecard with adding these. There's a interesting publication about how you can implement it in the balance scorecard. This is also interesting.
Balance scorecard is just the same like our model, but only we have one ratio in the end and not many, 20.
Yeah.
Better. Didn't we talk about this social responsibility also in company look? Do you remember?
But it was more about attractiveness for the personnel.
And business model.
Yeah.
Yes, business model, yes.
Okay, so let's move on. Otherwise, we stay for whole night.
Peter?
I would just like to comment on I can see that you're skeptical, bit Valentin. No problem. But last year we went to Barcelona to this company, to Sal, bus company. This company has this, let's say, tender or contract with the Barcelona government. And this company, they have to, every day or every month, they have to report this social responsibility, let's say, indexes to the government. And this local Barcelona government, you understand? Because if they don't do it, they lose the contract, or they don't get the bonus, the money at the end of the year. If they have better, let's say, customer satisfaction, they get more money at the end of the year. And for them, this is incredibly important. And this is also for me very refreshing and interesting. But okay, this is forced by the government, not from within the company. But you understand? So it's a shame that you were not in Barcelona, but if you're in Barcelona, you wouldn't be so skeptical. Okay.
Have a look on chat for Roger's comment. Okay, dear Team 4, thank you very much for your work this year. All the teams.
Jana, because she made a fantastic job as team leader, really. Jana.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jana is a bit silent today.
Yes, sorry.
Thank
you very much.
She is great. Yes, I've heard a lot of good comments from Hervik to Jana.